beso en la mesa. Ah, déjate weá, weón. Anda, puro weón. ¿Qué te dices, si te mueres?
quick little tap back this way so that they know that it's against the snap ring. We don't want to go crazy because we'll damage the bearing, but now we know that this bearing is up against the snap ring, so they don't have any issues. But that's it for the ball. Now we need to address putting the links back together, which consists of the rotary piece, this housing right here, and I'm now wishing that so it was definitely in the holes that I was supposed to be. This one. This one? Yeah, just ever so slightly you can see it's like a slight wear mark of where it used to be. So I'm going to suggest putting it back exactly the way you took it apart. I don't know how important it is, but because of that, I say put it back together the way you took it apart. All my seals and stuff though. So you guys can see here, they have a full rebuild kit. That's that this is in here is how this thing works. These little veins moving around to where and take a look at the drawing before I just grab this thing and pull it out. Make sure I'm not going to screw this thing up. But looks to me there's like 2 dowels that probably hold all of this in place. Yep. And then, yeah, so that lifts up. And I'd say it matters to which direction everything goes. I'm just going to collapse all of these veins, I think. I'm going to put everything back together the way it came apart. So I'm going to put it in my tray to where I just lift it up and put it straight back down where it was. Looks like this guy just lifts right up. I don't know, maybe if I should... I'm a little worried about these little veins. I'm thinking I might just wrap like a zip tie or something. I don't think that's going to really do me much good. So these guys just come out. And this is actually what creates the pressure. My big thing is I want to make sure it goes back in the exact way that it came out. That's kind of why I want to leave. Kind of want this to just come apart. I'm a little worried about these little veins. I'm thinking I might just wrap like a zip tie on a paper towel. Depending on how rusty it is in here, it may give you a little bit of grief coming out. I've had to persuade it a little bit, but I'm not foreign contaminants really getting in here, just like an engine. But I don't think that it needs to be like super dry or anything. I think I'm going to put it back together with Lucas makes like a power steering stop leaf, and it's almost like a honey. So it's kind of thick. So I have some of that, and that'll kind of act like a prelude for this. As I am guessing at how all this stuff comes apart. Kind of bear with me here. I do have my little, if that's like weight for another. I assume these 2 seals, this one came from down in here, and this one also came from down in there. They're hard as a rock, so that's not good. So I looked at my baggie here, and I've got 2 new seals here, right here, and then yeah. So this is the new seal that I think is actually the one that is our failure point in the other piece. I'm going to clean this up. It's around here that seals that. That's this guy here, I believe. To use an extension to the edge of this is this is a seal bearing. Seal conditioner that this bearing is up. This housing right here. I am now wishing that I had taken a picture of this. I need to go back and look. It might not even matter, but then again, it might. So this right here, I say put it back together the way you took it apart. Wipe it all down. This is, meant for power steering systems. But again, like I said, I'm using this as like an assembly lube. You guys can see like how stringy this stuff is, and I think that'll be good for a kind of a rebuild situation. Well, reseal. Can't use the word rebuild because we're not replacing all of these parts. I should put a little bit of this stuff in here too. Hold it all together. You guys will notice on these, there's a rounded edge, and that's basically where it was wearing inside of here. I'm just going to put it all back exactly the way that I took it out, and hope, because this pump worked. This is my drift car, but it just leaked like crazy. So let's hope that it still works now that I've taken it all apart. I mean, worst case, it should at least not leak everywhere. I'm just kind of presetting these where this pump sits right now. I don't even know if that's necessary, but
go ahead and put the gasket on. Make sure to don't flip around the other way, because if you do, flip around this way thinking that it's going to line up right. You're going to cover this hole, and that's not going to work. You're going to have leaks and all kinds of stupid shit. So, put that on this way. Nice and lubricated. It's got a rubber gasket or ring or whatever. It's kind of attached to it, so you don't have to worry about it being flimsy and flapping around and stuff like that. So the other thing is we put this guy on. Slides right on these pins that we talked about earlier. Again, mine had these two little dots on top that kind of gave me a reference point to say, hey, these, this is the top, there's the bottom. Does not have those. So, and then going back on my previous videos and pictures that I took, that way I lined it all up as close to back to the original as when I took it off. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lubricate these up really well and put these in the slots. that they're supposed to go in. I don't believe that they are specific in this slot goes here, this slot goes there. But what you do want to pay attention to, if I can get this in focus, is one of these edges is flat and the other one is rounded. So the one to the right there looks like it's rounded. I get another view here. And the other one is flat, squared off in the end. Squared off side goes to the inside here. So your rounded edges are the ones that are going to be scraping around this outside of this plate or this ring that we just put on, which is why I believe they're beveled, so that they can slide better and maneuver better inside there. So that is extremely important. If not, you'll probably break them, you'll score it up inside there, and your pump's going to be pretty much worthless at that point, from what I'm being told, and what it looks like here, just from good old mechanics and physics. So anyway, we're going to lubricate these, slide them in one by one, and be right back. Now that we've got this cam ring installed, all the beams in the proper places, see? If you look real close, the outside edges are rounded, the inside edges of those veins are squared off. That's extremely important. Can't stress that enough. Anyway, moving forward, we're now going to be lubricating this up really well and putting that back in along with the wave washer, which is here. Lubricate those up. It's kind of hard to do and hold this camera without getting stuff all over it, so that's why I keep breaking off and coming back and I just having one continuous video. So hope you don't mind that, but that's the way it's going to be. Be right back. As once we get the side plate on, it doesn't appear to have any difference whether you put the pins one way or another, or slide it onto the pins one way or another, I should say. It both kind of lines up the same. I went back and looked at the previous videos and I took the pictures, and it all seems to line up pretty good. The wave washer really only goes one way. You have to make sure that these little tabs it has fit these little grooves, and then the actual waves are sticking up. And from there, put an O-ring on this side plate, which is kind of easier to do than putting it into the backing plate, which I put in, the new O-ring inside there. I'm gonna lube this up really good before we install it on there. Also put the new O-ring on this port here, you can see there, and a new O-ring on the union bolt, which you can see there, close to the top there. Alright, so now I'm going to lubricate this back plate and install it next. So as 4 bolts, the long ones obviously go into the long shaft area here, short ones go into this area here, so not really hard to screw that up. Alright, I will be right back. Okay, so now I haven't got this on completely tight. I just kind of wanted to hop in and show you guys that I took a long lag bolt and screwed this down through this. You got 2 holes here that these mounting plates go on to the very end here. But you can take a bolt, drill it through your table, your work table, and obviously it's wood, and use the pump housing itself. What's up here doesn't affect my shaft at all. It keeps this nice and tight. That way I can torque these bolts down. And from what I'm reading through different manuals and tech specs, is these 4 bolts here, 12 millimeter, and they should be torqued at about 17 foot-pounds of torque. So we're going to do that now and make sure this thing is nice and tight, and then we'll continue on. Here's the lag bolt I was talking about. I slid through the housing, drilled into this hole here. And from what I'm reading, it's down through this as 4 bolts. The long ones obviously go into the long shaft area here. The short ones go into these area here, so not really hard to screw that up. Alright, I will be right back. Okay, so now I haven't got these on completely tight. I just kind of wanted to pop in and show you guys that I took a long lag bolt and screwed this down through this. You got 2 holes here that these mounting plates go on to in the very end here. But you can take a bolt, drill it through your table, your work table, and obviously it's wood, and use the pump housing itself. What's up here doesn't affect my shaft at all. It keeps this nice and tight. That way I can torque these bolts down. And from what I'm reading through different manuals and tech specs, is these 4 bolts here, 12 millimeter, and they should be torqued at about 17 foot-pounds of torque. So we're going to do that now and make sure this thing is nice and tight, and then we'll continue on. Here's the lag bolt I was talking about. I slid through the housing, drilled into this hole here. I kept everything nice and tight, was able to torque those bolts down with no issues. So now we're going to install the spring, flow control valve, and this union port, screw, bolt, what have you. I think they call it a pressure point union, if that's correct. So that's what we're going to do now, is going to dip this in our fluid, slide it in there like so, and bolt this down. Now I think this big sucker here takes about 62 pounds of torque, so I'm going to have to be a little ingenuitive because I'm afraid to put it in the vise because I don't want it to slip out and score this thing all up. So we might be bolting this down to the table and going from there, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so as I mentioned, I don't have a vise, a table vise that is, to try to put this thing on, and there's not really a flat surface or an area to really squeeze this thing. So the best idea that I had was to run the bolts through through the housing, not all the way. And in hindsight, I probably should have put some washers on there. And you probably comment about that a little bit. But anyway, I would not recommend putting one in here because it's threaded. You don't want to screw those threads up or anything like that. Bolt it down, snug it up against the 2x4 out here in your garage, or somewhere where you can stabilize something strong to push this force against, because you're going to put 62 pounds or a foot per pounds of pressure on this bolt right here. And actually worked out really well. Use a 24 millimeter socket. Use a torque wrench. Line this thing up, man, and it worked out a lot better than I anticipated. So maybe that's a helpful tip for you if you're going through this rebuild process. Is screw it to the table, put it up against some nice support, something solid. It's not going to slip on you or anything like that, and you'll be able to torque that thing down to the right spec. One of the last two things to do to finish this is put this on. This guy here. It's just one bolt. Pop it in, and then the pulley goes on. Like so. Tighten this nut up, and you got your mounting plates. I would recommend putting your mounting plates on beforehand. I do not have them on hand at the moment because I have a pump that's leaking connected to the vehicle at the moment that I purchased, and then we'll be removing and taking back. So I may have a video on how to remove and install the pump. There's a couple of them out there on YouTube already, but I may have an additional one, maybe some other tips and tricks that I found useful, because this is about the second one I've done, because the other two I've gotten were remanufactured pumps, and they both have leaked on me. So anyway, that should do it for the part 2 reassembly of an OEM pump with a rebuild kit. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good day.
Greetings, viewers. Eric Car Guy here, back again with another repair video for you. Behind me, my 2001 Honda Odyssey. It has a power steering pump that's been leaking for a little bit, and I thought I'd go through the process of resealing it today. Many of you have written to me about rebuilding these power steering pumps, that type of thing. Well, we're going to have this one all apart anyway, so you'll get a pretty good idea of what you're in for if you're in for a rebuild on one of these pumps.